to exactly what that means as we go along. But as you know, we start off with the church announcements. Got to start off with the church announcements. So what we got going on in the brotherhood? What we got going on in life this week? Vacation Bible School over at my church, 18 Central Church of Christ, 1830 West Monroe. We are a couple of weeks away from Vacation Bible School, which is August 9th through the 11th. So if any kid of any age, preschool all the way up to adulthood, is interested in getting you some good Bible lessons in, come on down to the Central Church of Christ. I believe we'll be getting started about 6 p.m. each day, and there will be refreshments afterwards. So we're looking for it to be a good time, a time of revival, a time of rejuvenation, a time to just sit down and get us some good Bible lessons in. And then to culminate everything, we're going to have a community cookout on Saturday, August 12th, starting at 11 a.m. We're going to have a bounce house. We're going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We're going to be giving away some school supplies. It'll be a great opportunity for those of you who want to get connected with the church, our church, or just, get you a little something to eat and a couple of pencils for your baby to come on down. We're just south of North Avenue, right off of 18. Let me look. Anybody who's been watching Moment with Mo Sketty for any amount of time knows that when I get to tripping up over my words, that means that I'm really excited and that I got a really good lesson for you for the day. I can't even get through my church announcements right now without me stuttering over my words. Anywho, if you are interested, we are located, like I said, 18 Central Church of Christ, 1830 West Monroe in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is on North Avenue, just south of North Avenue on 18th/on Monroe. So if you're interested in the community cookout, that'll be the afternoon of August 12th. Vacation Bible School is August 9th through 11th. But before we get into all of that, on August 5th, at the Black Arts Fest, formerly known as Afro Fest, I will be with AMPM, Anthony McGahee, and Praise Motivated, rocking it out, singing some songs, bringing the Holy Ghost to the fairgrounds. I believe we go on stage at 1:30. So I'm really excited about that. We've been practicing hard. We always practice hard and we always go hard. So if you want to hear you some good old, you want to have some church? You want to have some church? You want to have some church? Meet us down there on the fairgrounds. I'm really excited about it. And also later that afternoon, if you're trying to get your wiggle on, trying to have you a good time, my DJ friends, DJ Gid Money and DJ Tron Bussa will be on the main stage, I believe at 3:30, bringing you Afro beats and good vibes. So I'm really excited about spending the whole day down there. I hope the weather is fantastic so I can finish getting my summer tan in, because living in Wisconsin and then all this smoke that been in the air, I ain't been able to get no sun. I'm a little salty about that. Yeah, black people tan. I wasn't this color in February. I'm trying to get darker. People be trying to stay out the sun. I'm trying to get more. Come on, melanation activate. Melanation activate. Anywho, let me take a gander on up before we hop into the subject today to see who taking a look at me. Hey, Mom. I appreciate you for always being here. My mom is my biggest fan, but she also is low-key my co-host. Like, she be on the other side, just really taking good, just dropping in show notes, making sure that y'all get all the important parts. And of course, like I say, I record in the Sherman Phoenix at the Tone Deaf Network. So I always got Tone in the background, taking care, making sure that y'all can see me and hear me nice and beautifully. So big up to my steady help. Normally I go live on TikTok, but this week I'm going to live on Instagram to see whether or not I could get some of my friends to join me on there. So you can find me Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I be out here on these internet streets. Anywho, so we're about to get into the lesson for today, but let me wet my whistle. Let me wet my whistle. This is a huge bottle of water. I like this Eternal water. This is not a sponsorship. I just really like it. All right. Ready to get to it? Ready to get to it? Let's go. Today's topic is renew, rebuild, restore. Renew, rebuild, restore. So the topic for today actually comes from two different directions. There's a song that we sing at church that is all about asking God to help renew you, to restore you, to rebuild you to a place of faith, to a place of working in the kingdom and working for the Lord, because it's your currently because the disposition of the singer at the point of the song is they're feeling lowly. They're feeling kind of out of touch, and they're asking for God to reach out and renew and restore. My favorite verse of that song is the last one. It goes, "Revive the fire, Lord, deepen my soul, stir my desire to work in your fold. Replace all doubts and fears with faith so bold. Renew my love, rebuild my faith. Oh, restore my soul." I love that song because, well, partially because when I was in a low space, I was feeling disconnected. Did I sing it wrong? Light in my heart, dear God, your zeal grown cold. Renew my love, rebuild my faith, oh, restore my soul. What's up, Terry? Oh, you like that? You like that? I be singing a little bit. I be singing. um, but I sung that song a lot when I was feeling like I wanted to be re-engaged in life. I wanted to be re-engaged in the church. I wanted to be reinvigorated with some of my church pursuits. My faith was big enough to know that it is something that I wanted to do, but I just had no zeal. I had no um passion. I had lost that through a series of several things of deaths and grief, transitions in life, depression, like all of that took so much out of me. So for I sung that verse of that song a lot just to myself, asking God to restore my zeal, my passion, my desire, my energy to even do stuff like this. Because let me tell you, y'all would not have wanted to watch me on nobody's mic for no amount of time when I was in that space of my life asking to be refortified. So the topic of today, renew, rebuild, restore, came specifically from that song. But also I shouted out DJ Get Money at the top of the show when I was talking about the church announcements. He is one of the hosts of the poetry nights I attend at the Q on Tuesday nights, Food for Thought. And I was having a conversation with him after Food for Thought this past Tuesday, him and another poet. And he was asking about, what is your why? He was saying, you got to know your why, otherwise you're just kind of moving listless through life. And knowing or following your why is not a new concept to me. It's something that I talk about all the time with my clients. It's something that I even have checked in with myself about. But when he asked me what my why was, I had an answer. I had an answer. I had an answer. But I realized that I had accomplished the goal that was connected to my why. He asked me what my why was, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, I want to save the world. I want to change the world. And I know that changing the entire world is a giant task. But my perception of that is, if I change one person's world, I have changed the world for them. So thus I have changed the world. And I do that. I'm a therapist by profession, and I do that on a regular basis. Like, people have literally told me, "Oh my gosh, Monique, you changed my life. Oh my gosh, Mo, you changed my life." And so it isn't the fact that I don't follow that why anymore, but being asked that question at this juncture in my life, it made me realize that I needed to renew my why. I needed to recalibrate why I'm working in the direction that I'm working, why I'm working as hard as I'm working, why I put my efforts into any of the things I put my efforts into. And so the between the song and between that thought process, renew, rebuild, and restore was born. Yeah, you got to live your purpose on purpose. You have to be intentional about living your purpose. And I realize that I am actively living out my purpose, but there are elements of it that I am not as intentional about, that I need to pay some extra attention to. And so I wanted to share this concept with you guys of renew, rebuild, restore, to hopefully help you out with reconnecting with wherever you are on your path, on your purpose, and engaging with your why. So, you have to ask yourself, what is your why? Why is it your why? Is it still your why? And do you have multiple whys? But just because you're driven by one thing doesn't mean that you can't be driven by multiple things, so long as they are in alignment with one another, so long as they coincide with one another. They can't be opposing forces. Otherwise, you're going to bite yourself in the foot and you're never going to, you're going to work against yourself if the whys aren't in alignment with one another. But just because you have a why doesn't mean that you can't have multiple, and they can point in the same direction. So, y'all know I like a good definition. So the definition for renew is to resume an activity after an interruption, or to extend for a further period of validity. So sometimes we know our why. Sometimes we know our why. Mom says, how can you identify your why? How can you identify your why is probably a whole different lesson. A whole different lesson. But in short, I will say the way to identify your why is to search within yourself to determine what is the core of making you move the way that you're moving. So for many of us, for people of faith, our why is God. Our why is God. We do a lot of the things that we do because we want to be pleasing, acceptable, and obedient in alignment with God. But that's part of the reason why I said you can have multiple whys, because absolutely I want to be pleasing and acceptable in alignment and serving God in the multiple things that I do. But also I want to build a career in a direction where I'm helping people. And also I want to take care of my family. And so in identifying your why, it really you have to take a step back and sit with yourself and identify what motivates you, what drives you, what brings you passion, what you actually want to accomplish out of your life. But like I said, that could be a whole moment with Moschetti all in itself. So back to renewing. Sometimes we know our why and we lose track of our why along the way of actually executing it. Because knowing your why and operating within your purpose is not just a thing that you identify and then you check off on a list. Identifying your purpose and walking in it is a lifestyle. It is literally the way that you move. It is what gets you up in the morning and what puts you down to bed at night. And so sometimes when you're in the midst of it, you may lose track of the fact that this as you are doing the mundane tasks or the small tasks or the everyday duties that are in alignment with your why, you can lose sight of what that is. And so it's important to check in with yourself to make sure that you are still in alignment with that why, and it's still your why, and that you're still on that trajectory. And so to renew it, if you have fallen off base with connecting with your why and walking in your purpose, you need to renew your why. You need to remind yourself that this is the thing that you are wanting to do. This is your purpose in life. And sometimes we have interruptions in life. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have death, maybe you have work, maybe you have just different activities. Maybe you have put your why on pause to help somebody else out with their purpose. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's why we're a community. But if there's an interruption and you walking in your purpose, you need to renew your purpose so that you can remind yourself of what is the motor that drives you to do the things that you do. And also renew was to extend for a further period of validity. Sometimes you need to check in with yourself to make sure that you are still doing what you're doing for the same reasons that you've always been doing it, to refresh it, to bring in a newness to maybe something that you've been already doing. Renew. So to renew is your way of reminding yourself of why is this even your why? Because if you lose track of why it's your why, if you lose track of what is your why, you might as well not have one. You might as well be moving aimlessly through life again. Because it's no longer your why. It's just something that you thought of at some point in the past. It sounded like a good idea. But it's no longer purpose driven because you're no longer connected with it. You're no longer walking in it. So to renew it is to basically put it right back in your front of your face to remind you that this is what we do, to invigorate you. Rebuild. The definition of to rebuild is to build something again after it has been damaged or destroyed. Sometimes we lose track of our why because it gets hard. Sometimes walking in the direction that we were walking, it becomes difficult and we fall off. And so sometimes we need to rebuild the systems and the methods that will allow us to achieve our goals. So if it's become damaged, if it's become broken, if it's become burdensome, when we renew our why, we might have to rebuild the systems that help get us to our why. We might have to recalibrate how we are going about achieving the thing that we said that we want to achieve. We might have to direct our purpose along a different path. That doesn't mean that the purpose changed. That just means that the methodology to get to fulfilling that purpose has changed. For me personally, I started this podcast because I was fulfilling the purpose of wanting to help people in my professional life. But I needed to recalibrate because I felt like I wasn't touching enough people at one time. One person, 1 hour at a time. It's impactful for that one person, 1 hour at a time. But it's not impactful enough for the number of people that I would like to reach. There are limitations on who I'm allowed to engage with in that therapeutic space. Like I said, my mom is my number one fan and she on here every week. I can't do therapy for her, but I can give her this. And so in renewing what my purpose is to help people, I had to rebuild the system and the methods and the process in which I help people in order to be more effective in what that why even is. Mom says the old process might not work anymore. Exactly. You might have expired. You might have overextended the time that you're in which you are supposed to be fulfilling your purpose in the space that you're currently fulfilling your purpose in. The methods might not work anymore. Things that people were doing, even pre-pandemic to now, have changed. Let's see. Before the pandemic, pre-2020, when you heard the word podcast, you thought just an audio program. And now podcasting has moved on to more of an audio visual programming because people have become accustomed to seeing each other and talking across the internet. And it just adds an extra layer of engagement. 5-10 years before that, a podcast wasn't even in the lexicon of most. It wasn't even in our vocabulary. We didn't have any language for that. It was a radio show. It was a radio show. I got a radio show is what we would call it. So the old processes might be effective, but they might not be most optimal. Or they might not even work anymore. Or you might need to shift to something that is more effective. Rebuild, restructure. Ask yourself, has the way that you were working in your purpose worked in the past? If the answer is no, then you most definitely need to recalibrate how you are executing your purpose. You have to ask yourself, is the system and the way that you have been walking in your purpose, is it working now? If it is not working now, you most definitely need to rebuild the methods in which you are going about living out your why and walking in your purpose. And then you have to ask yourself, even if it has worked in the past, even if it is working in the present, will it likely work in the future? Is it sustainable? Are you upholding that? Yes, mom. And don't be afraid of trial and error. Absolutely. Because if it ain't working now, what's the harm of trying something else out that might not work? What you working in ain't working. We know that factually. So if you can change it around, and try something else that might be more effective, might be more advantageous, might roll a little smoother for you, might get you a little bit further, might get you a bigger audience, might impact people differently. It all depends on what your why is. Don't be afraid of trial and error, because trial and error, the whole point behind trial and error is that eventually it becomes success in operation. That's the point of trial and error, is to convert it to success in operation. Ma said, because the way my ADHD is set up, girl, you ain't, girl. The way my attention is set up, I got to change things all the time to make sure they're still effective, or see whether or not they're going to be effective in the future. So renew your why, renew your purpose, rebuild the methodology in which you fulfill your purpose. And then, and by doing those things, you will restore your purpose. You will bring back the whole reason why you're doing this in the first place. You will reinstate your why, your passions, your drive. And let me tell you, you do this, you get reconnected with your why, you will feel the fire return back to you. You will feel your zeal come back to you. That lets you know, if you don't feel passionate about the things that you're doing, if you have no excitement about the things that you are doing, if everything is routine and lackluster, that is a clear indicator that it is time to check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing these things for the reason why you said you were doing them in the first place. That what the things that you are engaging in on a daily basis, the small and large actions, if you don't want to do any of it, if none of it brings you excitement and none of it brings you joy and none of it brings you zeal and you want to avoid it, it is time to recalibrate and see whether or not this thing is even still in alignment with your why, or to see if your why that you identified is still in alignment with you. So yes, I definitely am still in alignment and still want to help people, still want to serve the community, still want to save the world. Absolutely. 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 I want to be rich too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And not just for the sake of being having money just to like hold up like a telephone or nothing like that. I don't need stacks of cash. You ain't never got to see none of my money. I want to take care of my family, and I want to live comfortably, and I want to have experiences that are easy to pay for that I don't have to stress about. But without keeping that in focus, I could very easily run around trying to save the world for free. That's easy. There's always somewhere for you to volunteer. There's always somewhere that somebody needs some help and somebody that can't pay you. And that's not saying that I can't do things that people won't pay me for, because I'm always down to help. I'm always down to lend a hand, because that's part of my God work. I get paid back in spiritual blessings, and I see them all around me. But I can't lose sight of one thing over the other, because if I start losing sight, if I start just chasing the money, just start chasing the bag, just trying to get financially stable, and I lose sight of this other piece of the why of that I wanted to help people and that I wanted to get people from one area of their life to the next, I'm gonna lose out on my opportunities to change the world like I wanted to, and just be chasing green. In those moments, I need to renew myself. I need to renew why I'm doing this. Ask myself, what is my why? Why is it your why? Do you know why your why is your why? That sounded crazy. Do you know why your why is your why? But do you? Did you ever spend time to actually evaluate why you are driven towards working in the direction that you're driven to work? Or do you just do it because this is what was available to you, or this is what sounds good, or this is what my parents said I should do, this is what my preacher said I should do, this is what, this is what makes a lot of money, this is what looks like a stable adult? Like, have you ever thought about why is this your why? The main reason why helping people became a why for me is that I didn't always grow up in the best of circumstances. I didn't always have the most of things, but there was always somebody around to help me out, to bridge the gaps that my mom or my parents or whatever, whoever couldn't fill themselves. Whatever spots in my life that couldn't be filled by the people who were primarily responsible for me, there was always somebody who was secondarily responsible for me, or somebody who came, a ram in a bush who came out of nowhere to help fill a need. I never went without. I had a lot of things going on in my life, but I never really went without, especially in especially if we were able to open our mouths, or I was able, or my mom was able to open our mouths and get help from, and solicit help from those around us. I never really went without what I needed. And because of that, I purposed myself to be one of those people in the ecosystem that would make sure that people didn't go without. Mom put a couple of things up. First of all, hashtag Moe-Sketty. If you're trying to help me get rich and or pay for this studio time, you can get my cash out. $ Moe-Sketty. Buy me a coffee, buy me a car, whatever's in your wallet, whatever's on your heart. I would say I ain't soliciting for money, but I'm trying to be rich, like I said. And this is time and labor. So feel free to show me something. When we pass the collection place, show me a little financial appreciation if you so see fit. And she said I sound like Dr. Seuss when I said why is your why your why? Look, Dr. Seuss got some good lessons in his book. Dr. Seuss himself, good. We're not even gonna get into that. But the reason why I am passionate about helping people is because there was always somebody there to help me. And I want to pay it forward. And it invigorates me to see people get what they need. And it brings me joy to be one of the people in place to help them do it. When I have the ability, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, to give, I give. Because it was given unto me. And we deserve it. Ma said, put it on the screen, Tom. But yeah. What is your why? Why is your why your why? Is your why still your why? If your why ain't your why no more, then this lesson was for you. If you haven't sat back and evaluated and taken stock and taken inventory of your why, this lesson is for you. If you're still working in an outdated operating system within yourself of how to achieve your purpose and your why, this lesson is for you. If you're feeling burnt out by whatever it is that you do, this lesson is for you. If going into work every day makes you tired, this lesson is for you. I wish I had this lesson when I had to be at work at 8:00 and I stayed in the parking lot till 7:59. I tell you what. If you listening to this in your car on the way to work on a Monday morning and you don't want to get out your car, this lesson is for you. Why are you going there? And to pay bills ain't good enough, because our purpose in this world is not just to sit around paying bills. It can't be. I refuse. I refuse to be my only purpose in this world is to go to work and pay bills. Because why? Why is that my why? You said, Mom said one of her whys is being my hype man. I cannot with you today. But you know what, Mom? I appreciate you being my hype man. I appreciate you being my number one fan. I appreciate you being on here every week with me so that I'm not alone. But I appreciate the support that you give me in life in general. And that's real. Because everybody needs somebody in their corner to always uphold them. And my mom has always like pushed me to do whatever I wanted. I'll be having all types of harebrained schemes, and she'd be like, okay, go have fun with it until you get tired of it. But why is one of her whys being my hype man? Because she wants to see me succeed. And everybody needs somebody in the corner to help give them confidence and let them know that what they're doing is quality. Or let them know that what they're doing is trash and I need to recalibrate. And I trust my mother to very much so tell me, that lesson, did you prepare? Are you okay? Or that one was ooh. Because when it's fire, she be ready to call me. She be excited about everything I do, and I love it. I love it. And then, like I said, do you have multiple wives? Do you need to renew any of those multiple wives? Do you need to drop any of those multiple wives? Do you need to rebuild in any of those multiple wives? What needs to be restored in your life? What needs to be restored in your life? Are you wasting your time on things that are not even a part of your why? And I'm not talking about when we take a break for rest or when we take a break for entertainment. But are you going throughout your days on a regular basis confused about why you're doing what you're doing? Apathetic about why you're doing what you're doing? Or you're on autopilot just doing just because you think you just should be? Then you need to discover or renew your why. And if you renew your why, if you remind yourself of your why and you look around and nothing in your life points you that direction, it's time to rebuild. It's time to restructure. And unfortunately, that might mean, or fortunately, that might mean the destruction and dismantling of some of the things that you have going on in your life. Be careful when you want to make a life change. Stuff might start falling apart. That's okay. Everything that's when you calibrate with your purpose and you are instituting actions that will put you in the space of fulfilling your destiny, your goals, your purpose, your dreams, executing your why. If things around you start falling apart, when you start pointing that direction, count it all joy. Because that means I was a whole bunch of stuff that was getting in your way of you being able to fulfill your purpose. That's what that was. All of it. If it goes away when you're pointing in your direction, it needed to go. It probably outstayed its lesson anyways. You said next lesson, how to identify your why. I'll be waiting. Honestly, for how to identify your why, I need you to go ahead and book a couple of therapy sessions because that one, it can take some in-depth healing. That's not the next lesson. Though. I already got the next lesson. I'm not gonna tell you what it is until it's time to roll out. Cause it ain't your business. Cause it ain't your show. Cause it ain't your business. Cause it ain't your show. Cause it ain't your business. No, actually, as far as the future episodes coming up, I'll tell you a little bit. I have some interviews lined up that I'm really excited about, and I can't wait to show you guys the lessons and the people who I'm bringing in here because I'm really excited about what might come out of this. I'm really excited about sharing with you guys. But anywho, I was outside of church talking for too long. So my throat hurt and I'm tired and I haven't had anything to eat yet. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one on up and take this one on out. So let's hit it with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for the opportunity to connect with your people. I ask that you just take this message and touch the heart of anybody who needs it. Help them renew their purpose. Help them see clearly of why they're here and what it is that they want to do and what it is that will be best for them and for this world. Help them rebuild whatever systems and whatever structures that they need in their lives in order to execute that so that they may restore their purpose and so they may be invigorated, so they may have zeal, so they might have light in this world. In Jesus' name, thank God and amen. Like my mama said, oh, he put it on the screen. There you go. Yeah, so this has been my move with Mo Scatty. If you want to show me any appreciation for my time and my labor, I appreciate it. Hit the cash tag $ Mo Scatty. Buy me a coffee, buy me a car, whatever is in your wallet and whatever is on your heart. But I do this. I do this. I do this because I love y'all, because I care, because I feel like what I have to say is important, and I feel like the important people need to hear it when they need to hear it. So whether you're watching it on the live or you're hearing it on the playback, if it touches you when it needs to touch you, then take heed, um, and take it to heart, so that you may do with it what you will in order to be the best you that you can be. All right. So with that being said, remember we got VBS coming up. We got the community cookout coming up. We got Afro Fest slash Black Arts Fest coming up all in August. I'm excited. I hope y'all are excited too. All right. That's that. Take me out, Tom.